Jack Miller never expected his life to intersect with the battlefield. He was just an ordinary single dad from a sleepy town in Montana, raising his daughter Lily the best he could after his wife's passing. He knew the struggle of feeling alone, of wanting to be enough for someone who deserved more. Maybe that's why, that chilly spring morning, he found himself standing at Arlington Cemetery, long after Lily's deployment overseas. Jack had come to visit an old army buddy's grave, a man who'd once helped him through his darkest days. As he stood there, hands stuffed in his worn-out jacket, he heard a voice so fragile it made his heart clench. "I failed you. Moment broken bar I failed you." He turned and saw Hira, a young woman in a crumpled army dress uniform, kneeling in front of a modest gravestone. Her shoulders shook as she clutched the weathered photo. Jack hesitated. He knew grief was private, but something in her whispered confession drew him in, like an echo of the nights he'd stayed up with Lily after her mother died, telling her she hadn't failed anyone. Gently, Jack approached. "You didn't fail her," he said softly, his voice cracking like old timber. Startled, she looked up. Her eyes, red from tears, searched his for judgment, but found only warmth. He saw her name stitched above her heart, Sergeant Emily Carter. "You don't know me," she whispered, embarrassed. "No," Jack said, lowering himself beside her, knees pressing into the cold earth. "But I know what it feels like to think you let someone down when all you did was your best." And so, in that quiet corner of the cemetery, her story spilled out like a dam breaking. Emily had been deployed for 3 tours. Her mother had raised her alone, working double shifts to keep her in school. She joined the army hoping to make her mom proud, to pay her back for all the nights she went to bed hungry so Emily didn't have to. But while Emily was deployed on her last tour, her mother passed away alone, in their small apartment. "I was gonna get her out of that place," Emily said, her voice shaking. "I promised her a house, a gardenia. She never even saw my promotion." Jack didn't have the right words, but he did have the truth. "I bet your mom knew you loved her more than anything, and maybe that's all she ever wanted." Emily's eyes filled again. "You really think so?" Jack nodded. He pulled out his wallet and showed her a faded photo of Lily. "My daughter's overseas too. When her mom passed, I thought I failed her. But Lily told me on a broken bar all she needed was to know she was loved. Maybe your mom felt the same way." Emily stared at him, silent, before the tears came, this time softer, like a release she'd been denying herself for too long. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Jack did something he hadn't done in years. He invited a stranger home. He took Emily to his modest cabin, made her coffee, and let her talk about her mom. He gave her Lily's old room for the night, a warm, safe, quiet. He called Lily later that night, told her about Emily, and Lily insisted he keep her there as long as she needed. In the weeks that followed, Emily stayed. She helped fix up Jack's aging truck, cooked dinner with him, and sat by the fire at night, telling stories about her mother, laughing sometimes, crying others. Jack realized he hadn't just helped Emily, she'd reminded him that kindness doesn't end when your own wounds do. It deepens, it connects, it heals. One morning, as the snow melted and the first flowers pushed through the earth, Emily stood by the door in her crisp uniform. She was ready to go back to her base. She hugged Jack so tightly he could feel her heartbeat. "Thank you for giving me a place to breathe," she whispered, "and for reminding me broken bar I didn't fail her." Jack squeezed her hand. "Promise me you'll remember that, wherever you go." "I will," Emily said, her eyes bright for the first time since they'd met. As her car disappeared down the long gravel road, Jack looked out over his fields, the fields Lily had played in as a girl, fields his wife had loved in the springtime. He felt a warmth inside him that had nothing to do with the sun. Sometimes, the biggest battles are the ones we fight in silence inside our hearts, against the guilt we carry like armor we can't remove. And sometimes, all it takes is a kind word from a stranger, a warm meal, or a place to rest, to remind us that we're never as alone or as broken as we think.